That is a nicer photo of me. All right. Good morning. Thank you very much for coming over. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Min, co-founder and CEO of Razer. I had to check to make sure it's up on the stage. Oh, it's over here. Good. So, in short, which would be relevant to many of you in the room, I am Singaporean. While we first started the company in California, in Southern California first, and now in San Francisco for Singapore, I'm Singaporean and I'm still Singaporean. Sure. So today I'm here to talk a little bit about the Cult of Razer. So if you're a gamer, you're probably familiar with who we are, what we do, but in case you're not a gamer, and quick show of hands, how many gamers are there in the room? There we go. So that's good. So for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with Razer, I've got a quick kind of overview before I chat a little bit about our experiences in building our startup to a global brand and share some insights of how we've gotten around doing that. So, without much further ado, who we are. We were founded back in 2005. Well, officially in 2005, we kind of got started a little bit before that, but officially we were incorporated in 2005. And at Razer, it's pretty simple. We do two things. We do hardware and we do software. And this was back before the days of buzzwords like IoT and things like that. But in short, what we've done is really be focused for gamers by gamers. Now, bear in mind, back in 2005, the gaming industry wasn't at all what it is like today. Today is incredibly exciting. Everyone's talking about it. But back then, gaming was a bit of a niche market. Every single investor I went to and spoke about gaming, they said, are you sure it's like a tiny little market? Is that ever going to grow? But that's what we've always wanted to do, right from the get-go. For gamers, by gamers, that's our motto. And today, after 12 years, we're still 100% focused on the gamers. But today, we're seeing over 2 billion gamers out there. So, hardware and software. So we are the world's leaders in terms of gaming peripherals. I'm sure you guys might be familiar with the Razer gaming mouse, gaming keyboard, gaming headsets, and to date, over the past 12 years, we've shipped about $2 billion worth of gaming peripherals and systems worldwide. And on top of that, we are probably listed as one of the best gaming systems out there, the Razer Blade. I have many people asking me where they can get one. I'm sure we're starting to ship them in Singapore soon. But I'll speak a little bit about that in a bit. No, but we haven't just been a hardware company. We're also a software company. Right from the get-go, we've built a platform of over 35 million users. And that's completely different from a traditional hardware company that doesn't have an ongoing relationship with a user. Every single day, we communicate with our users either through our hardware, through social media, through different platforms. And that has allowed us to build a truly global brand. So, very quickly, I'm going to show a quick video for those of you who want to learn a little bit more about the Cult of Razer before I share our experiences of how we've actually built the fan base through the past couple of years. So this is a video, and bear with us because in the early days, we've always been bootstrapped. We couldn't really afford a really good camera, so it's a little like shaky cam and blurry cam, but I assure you, we end up having a little bit more funds to get a better camera toward the end of the video. All right? So here we go. With no video, with no audio. Let's try that again. Could we boost the audio on this? We're good? All right. Still no audio. This is the part where I throw something at someone. It's going to be good? Okay, let's try that. I don't trust you guys. I hear a little bit of it. brand, our startup globally, whether it's in North America, where we've got a huge following, and of course, Europe, and over and above, right now, back in Asia, right? So we haven't spent all that much time in Singapore or Southeast Asia, but we are really looking to bring a lot more focus back to where we are, my hometown, so to speak, over here, where a lot of our focus in Asia to date has been in China. Now, when we talk about the Cult of Razer, or the cult brand that we've built, there are two consumer brands in the world that people tattoo logos on themselves. One of them is Apple, and the other one's us, right? So we've got hundreds, we've got thousands of gamers out there who have sworn allegiance to Razer to talk about gaming, to talk about gamers, to everyone around us. And our focus has always been that single line, for gamers, by gamers. So I think today what I'd like to talk about is how do we bring our startup, and I think which is a little bit more relevant to many of you in the audience over here, as a Singaporean founder, so I was born, bred, I studied over here, did my time, I did NS over here, just for the benefit of everyone, and built this to a global brand. So pretty much we did three things over and above. First up, we focused on a niche, we built on the niche, we made sure that we built the very best products and services for the niche, and then we scaled and scaled. But of course, while we were scaling, we would always focus on doing the best that we could in maintaining our edge. Now, bear in mind, this may be counterintuitive to many of the VCs in the audience who talk about TAM all the time. What's the total available market? To that, I have no answer, because we didn't care about all of that. And maybe that's why nobody invested in us in the early days, to be fair. Because whenever they talked about TAM, they said, look, you got to look at something bigger. I would say, and they say, what is the market for gaming peripherals back in 2005? And I had no answer for that. Why? Because there were no industry reports back then. It wasn't a segment. In fact, we pretty much invented the segment. But because we are really passionate about the work that we do, we are still passionate about the work that we do, we said, it's fine. We don't let VCs run our business. We are just going to do what we believe in, and we are going to grow. All right? With all due respect to the VCs in the audience that passed on us. So, focus on the niche and scale. That's something that we've learned. I don't know if it applies to everyone, but it sure as hell applied to us. How did we do it? Back in 2005, we said we wanted to really focus for gamers, by gamers. And 12 years hence, today, we are still 100% focused on gamers. That has not changed. That's still the niche market that we're focused on. We continue to design products for gamers, for pretty much ourselves as gamers. And we started back then with just a gaming mouse. A mouse. So think about this. This is 2005. Hardware was probably the last thing on any investor's mind. When you talk about hardware, they go like, really? And then next up you say, well, we are going to design a really good mouse. And they will say, okay, call me back a little later. Think about this. This is 2005. Today, I think hardware has gotten a much better name, but back in 2005, we started with a mouse and said, to hell with it. We're just going to go out there and build the very best mouse that we've got for ourselves as gamers, because what's the worst that could happen? We'll just end up with a great mouse for ourselves. And we focused on our niche of gaming mice, and we went on to do gaming keyboards, went on to do gaming headsets. And today, we haven't just invented a product. We've invented an entire industry. Gaming peripherals today now have an industry report. Now, there are analysts covering it and following it, which is a little bit too late because I can't really do anything about it. So that's what we did. We started with a niche, with just a mouse, and we scaled and grew from there. But that has not been all that we've done. Since then, in 2005, we've now scaled through the category of gaming peripherals. We wanted to do more. So we've extended ourselves to gaming laptops, which was a bit of a quantum leap. And it doesn't make sense. So when many people ask me, are there competitors to Razer? I would say, well, there are either many competitors or there are none. Why? Because you don't get companies that do both peripherals and laptops. These are completely different disciplines. You've got to build completely different engineering teams. You've got to have a completely different sales team and marketing team and really understand how to do that. But that's what we've done. We vaulted across the categories. We continue to scale from our niche, from first the mouse to gaming peripherals, and now with the gaming peripherals niche, we have scaled across to gaming laptops. And it's been both a critical and commercial success. We've swept about every single award there is out there with notebook, laptop magazines, so on and so forth. And in fact, in Q1 of this year, we are now the #1 premium gaming laptop in the US. That's just over a couple of years. And we continue to scale and focus on what we do. Because what we've realized since the past couple of years is that we've built a pretty cool audience, a pretty cool user base. We've got 35 million users. What else can we do? Do we want to expand to other hardware categories? We said, let's provide them an incredible new service. And that's why this year, we've moved into launching what we call Z Gold, since I'm in Singapore, or Z Gold, where it's a single virtual currency for gamers. And what we're doing is that this single virtual currency is on top of our 35 million users. We are now able to drive our users to games out there and constantly scale from category to category to category. So what else? What beyond gaming, for that matter? So a little earlier this year, we also announced the acquisition of Lucasfilm Thx. We're incredibly excited about the gaming niche, but bear in mind, we're not a gaming company. We're a company for gamers. And gamers today don't just play games. They enjoy music, they enjoy movies, and that's why we went on and said, this is a truly phenomenal brand for both movies and music. It's completely synergistic. If there will be a day that we scale up from gaming to all of entertainment, that would be our next step. So that's stuff that we're looking at. So #1, we focus on a niche, and we scale. And today, we are still doing that over and over again. What else? Second, find talent anywhere in the world. Now, bear in mind that, like yourselves, out of Singapore, I'm sure many of the founders over here are saying, oh God, we can't find talent. Trust me, every other company in the world is saying the exact same thing. Just, I can't find talent in square brackets. It could be Singapore, it could be London, it could be the Valley, so on and so forth. Nobody cares. All right? So find talent anywhere in the world. And given how global businesses are today, and how global development teams can be, whether it's a software or hardware perspective, that's something we did. And unfortunately and fortunately, we've been opening offices everywhere, not for business, but really for us to house the talent that we can find every single place. So we've got 3 design centers worldwide at this point of time: San Francisco, Taiwan, Singapore. And bear in mind, because we are here in Singapore, I'm sure many of you will say, okay, if I opened up in the Valley, I'm going to be able to tap on the very best talent there is. Well, for software talent, there's phenomenal talent in the Valley, don't get me wrong. But just because somebody gets to the Valley doesn't make him a genius overnight, bear in mind. There's lots of talent that can be found every single place. Right here in Singapore, we've got one of our design centers. Taiwan, we've got phenomenal hardware talent that we've built up a design center over there. And that's what we do. We go to where the talent is. And that is what every single one of us should be doing, looking to find the very best talent. And every time you feel that you're going to say something like, oh, I can't find the talent there is in Singapore, or insert a city, it's the same case for every single person. Cultivate the talent. Reach out to the talent anywhere in the world and find it. So, for example, we have been really excited about the mobile space. And to be clear, I'm not saying that we're launching a mobile phone, because that's a big question that everyone's asking. So we brought in some of the best mobile software talent out of an acqui-hire that we did in San Francisco. The Nextbit team, they built a really cool cloud phone. But these are just examples that we do. We're constantly looking at building talent, finding talent anywhere in the world. It could be San Francisco, Singapore, Taiwan, Chengdu, where a lot of our software engineers reside. That's what we do. So that's the second thing that we did. We find talent anywhere in the world. And finally, and this is something that I reiterate over and over and over again to every single startup out there, we've got the opportunity today to directly speak to your customer, to directly speak to your user, which is one of the things I find mind-boggling. that there's such an opportunity to always engage your customer 24/7 all the time. And many companies out there, or many startups out there, are not doing it. And that's what we do. So we've built up our own social media presence, whether it's on Instagram, or whether it's on Twitter, or whether it's on Facebook. We're always constantly talking directly to the user, and for the past 12 years, we've come, gone, we've followed different platforms. We're on Snapchat, we're on WeChat, we've got an official account over there, always communicating with the user and going to where the users are. And of course, we've also built our own channel to ensure that our messages are always reached out, always get transmitted to every single one of our users out there. And we call it insider@razerzone.com. And this just doesn't apply to our official accounts. So myself, I run my own social media accounts. Maybe because I've got too much time on my hands, right? But I literally run my own social media accounts, which allows me to say stuff that the official account can't say. All right? So from time to time, I'm able always to have a finger on the pulse of all the gamers out there. I can hear positive feedback, I can hear negative feedback, I can hear how they like certain features of the product. We can look at iterating certain features of product in real time. And that has allowed us to design product without a single focus group, without having to do any formal brainstorming or anything like that, because the multitude of ideas that come through every single one of the users is truly, truly out there. So I constantly speak to our users, whether it's through Facebook, Twitter, and the thing is, it allows me to really chat and understand and even give feedback to our users. So a good example, as many gamers out there will know, the standard thing I always get about Razer is that you guys are really expensive. If I meet parents out here, in fact, I try to avoid parents when I can. They say, oh my God, I spend so much money on Razer products, so on and so forth. So what would a standard official social media channel say? Oh, we're doing whatever we can to bring prices down, so on and so forth. Well, the way I see it is, yes, with overwhelming demand, we are exploring a whole new payment method, and that's a kidney, by the way. So these are constant jokes or stuff that I find funny. I'm not sure, maybe someday I'll get fired for making jokes like that. I'm pretty sure I will, so this is going to be very prescient at some point of time. I'm going to say something wrong. But this really affords the opportunity for me to reach out constantly, chat with our users, and tell them that, by the way, I'm not encouraging anyone to give a kidney, just to be clear. Full disclaimer over here, right? But this affords me the opportunity to always reach out. And this was like an Instagram post, and somebody posts on my Facebook page, Jordan says, reply to this and I'll buy every Razer product ever. And I can say something like, please hand over your credit card and your organ donation card, right? So constantly, it's chatting with our users. Yeah, it's amazing, right? Can you imagine? Well, actually, to be fair, our official account does stuff like that too. Someday our social media guys are going to get fired. I'm pretty sure of that at the same time. So that's the thing. The three things really that you're able to do to really build a global brand is really find your niche and scale from there. It doesn't matter whether the TAM numbers are there, because remember, you're not building a company to get funding. I'm sure the VCs will find the ways and means to do their own TAM conversions and all that kind of stuff, but if you're truly passionate about your niche, it could be anything, pet collars, dog leashes, whatever, find your niche and scale from there. Secondly, always, always find talent. And bear in mind, don't sit around and say, okay, I can't find talent in Singapore. Don't get me wrong. There are government grants and stuff like that will afford you to get KPIs to find talent over here. But remember, you're not building your startup for VCs. You're not building your startup for a government KPI over and above. You're building your startup to do something truly, truly great. So find your niche and scale. Find your talent anywhere in the world. And finally, always speak directly to your customer. That's a huge opportunity that you have, that all of us have in the room, and you should make sure you take advantage of that. So that's it. That's just a quick presentation. I'll talk a little bit about the Cult of Razer, or the brand that we've built over the past couple of years, and some of the lessons that we have learned in building the brand from a startup to a global brand. I'm going to do a quick Q&A with John after that on the Convergence stage in about 25 minutes, I think, and I've overrun my time by 6 minutes. Good. All right, so I'll be over there, so happy to take questions. You can tweet them to John and make sure that he asks me that during the fireside chat. Otherwise, thank you very much. It's always good to be back here in Singapore. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Min.